Awesome. Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. Welcome to Canada's Youth Connect. I would like to first introduce myself. My name is Fearns Francis, or my Plains Cree name is Pascual Mostus Kawichimitawaymat, Tsiga's son, which means he who plays with the buffalo. I'm excited to be your host today. A little bit more about myself is I'm a proud member of Pipewat First Nation, located in southern Saskatchewan. I'm enrolled into the First Nations University of Canada, completing my Bachelor's of Business Administration, and currently serving as National Student Director for CANDO. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you're a returning participant, we're grateful to have you here. So, a little bit more about Canada's Youth Connect is that it is a platform to empower Indigenous youth and allies across Turtle Island to participate virtually to discuss topics such as economic development, lands management, and entrepreneurship. Some past speakers that were featured in our Youth Connects were Chief Treshelle Bunn of the Birdtail Sioux Dakota Nation, Scott Wabino from the Real Rank Podcast, Cassandra Loon with AIIC, and Chief Aaron Pete of Kawacatoose First Nation. Before we begin, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. If you'd like to speak, please use the raise hand function or put in the chat box and we'll get to it at the end. Make sure to grab some water and a notepad in case you want to take some notes, and stick around to the end because we'll be doing a $100 gift card draw for those who complete the evaluation. Your feedback is crucial in shaping future Connect sessions. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Michelle Nieviadomy and let her take it from there. With over 15 years in the fitness industry through her business Iskwew Health and her current role as Assistant Director at the Edmonton Native Healing Centre, Michelle brings a unique blend of physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being to her teachings. As the co-founder of Healing Her Homefire, she has also been deeply involved in the grassroots advocacy and community care for vulnerable populations experiencing homelessness. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Michelle. The floor is now yours.
Hi. Thank you so much. What a great introduction. It's really great to be here. I have a PowerPoint, so I'm going to set that up in a moment. Um, but yeah, do welcome you all. Thank you for being here. It's such an honor. I always consider it such an honor to be able to share a little bit of what I know to be true, what I have learned along my path. So let me just find my Okay, here we go. PowerPoint. Um, so I'm joining today from Misquithie, so Treaty 6. I originally am a Saskatchewan gal from Treaty 4 territory, so I'm a member of Kawacatoose First Nation. So I acknowledge that I come to this territory, I've come to these lands. I've moved here many, many moons ago, but I acknowledge the people, the history, the ones who've walked before us, our ancestors, the grandmothers, the grandfathers all walked before us, all have their own stories, their teachings. And I came to these lands with a dream in my heart. And I really believe a call from Creator. I think all of us have a call from Creator. Um, but I acknowledge the territory that I live on. I'm here joining from Emiskwaciwâskahikan. So feel free. I would love to see in the chat box where all of you are joining from. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about my business called Iskwew Health, but I'm also transitioning from physical health because I was all about the teaching boot camp and fitness classes, yoga, Zumba. I still very much teach Zumba, but I'm transitioning into the mental health world. So I'm just on my last leg of school in my master's program. I'm going to be a mental health therapist. So I'll be done at the end or mid-April, and I can't wait. So I'm slowly beginning to transition. So I'm going to talk about a bit of my business, a bit about my journey, but I also want to bring in an element of mental health, which I hope will be helpful for all of you. So feel free to ask questions along the way. So I welcome you, welcome you. I want to acknowledge that we all belong in Creator's worlds. Every single one of us who are here. We're meant to be here. You're here for a reason. Oops, you're here for a reason, here on purpose. So I say to you, so this is a Cree word, and the way I understand this Cree word is like there's room for you. Welcome. There's space for your story. There's space for your ideas and your gifts and what you believe Creator has called you to do. We need you. We need you living well and being alive with the stories and the teachings that you carry. So I welcome you into this space. I also want you to think about in this moment before we get started, because I know it's Thursday, lots has happened since Monday through this very moment. Um, what is one part of your favorite? No, what is your favorite part of the week? What where you really feel like, man, I was blessed by that, or man, creators got my back. What was your favorite part of this week? And just take a moment to reflect and think about that. And may that energy, because when you think about that favorite part, you can't help to have gratitude in your heart. You can't help but to smile. You can't help to hold on to that good energy, right? So may that kind of energy guide us throughout this session. So I just love affirmations. And so today, I encourage you just to think about I am a powerful co-creator of my life. So we want to acknowledge that, yes, there's a great mystery, there's a great power, there's something greater than ourselves. My language for that is creator. So we acknowledge there's creator, but creator brought us into this world, passed the baton, passed the fire to us. And now it's up to us to be co-creator, co-conspire for our own lives. So may this affirmation also guide us as we talk about um, what's in your heart? What are your dreams? What's the call on your life? So I'm a huge lover, again, of affirmations. Where the mind goes, the rest of you will follow. So it's really important to think well, to have good thoughts. You're not going to be positive. You're not going to be always on. That's not what talking about. But I'm talking about thinking about good things, thinking about good affirmations, good medicine that will guide us. And when we do have those hard moments, when we do have those valleys and those dark days, it is that mindset, it will be that affirmation, it will be that good thought that will help to pull you out. So I'm here to talk about my business named Iskwew Health. I've been around the block for many moons now, but I come from a childhood of trauma, of loss, of grief, of addictions, of violence. And so it was out of that darkness, I really believe came this calling on my life. So as I was reflecting, I thought about what brought me to this place of even wanting to start a business. Like there's no business people in my family. Um, I was not surrounded by messages or people who inspired me this way. The struggle was real when I was growing up. So how did I come to decide that I'm going to start a business? I really believe my starting point was creator, that relationship with creator and that understanding that I'm here for a purpose. I was created with purpose. I was created to create. And what is it that I'm going to bring to this world? So fitness was it. So as I reflected on my own journey, how this came to be, I was not an athlete. I wasn't in the fitness world when I was young. So it's like, where did this come from? And when I thought about it and when I started to work on my own healing journey and peeled back some of the layers, because I always thought for a long time that I was the lone wolf. I survived. I got me through my darkest days. And while that may be true, there was people around. there was creator's goodness all around. So as I reflected and pulled back the layers of my childhood and how I grew up, I acknowledged my mom. So there are people that have brought us teaching, whether we realize it or not. I think I took this for granted for a really long time because I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of resentment and a lot of bitterness. So when you have those things in your heart, it's hard to look beyond, it's hard to see the goodness. So once that healing started to come into my life, I now could see I stand on the shoulders of my mother. And for a long time, I could not say that. But I acknowledge the seed that she planted in my life, in the midst of chaos, in the midst of darkness, in the midst of our dysfunctional and disconnected home life. My mom worked out. I witnessed her doing a good thing. I witnessed her. So this takes us way back. You might have to Google this. VHS. She put on VHS videos, Jane Fonda, all of these other, like Richard Simmons. I watched her work out. We lived very close to White Bear. Well, not close, an hour drive to White Bear First Nation where I grew up, and she would ride her bike and meet us there. So that I'm gonna say that was like a 2.5 hour. So she was very active. And so for me, just watching her, so I say this for you mothers out there, that your kids are watching, that you are planting a seed. It may not feel like, you're doing anything, but your kids are watching. As I watched my mother work out, and that exercise, that medicine of moving her body is what kept her head above the water, that I really think that kept her surviving. And so she planted that seed, and fast forward, here I have a business, and I can honestly say it's because of what I watched. So
Hey
for
Michelle,
me,
sorry to
yeah,
bother. Did you start your PowerPoint yet?
yeah, it's not
Oh,
on.
yeah, no, it's not on.
Okay. Sorry, I had some awesome pictures, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me try this again. Thanks for sharing that. We're gonna stop. Sorry. Um, okay, let me know. Can you see now?
We can just see like the
So if I do
Maybe put
this,
it in presenters mode because we can
yeah.
see like the whole
Okay, can you see
there you
this?
go. Yeah, there you go.
And you can see, okay,
oh,
so sorry, I'm just gonna go backtrack because I'm a visual person. So this is the celebration. We start in this good way. This is the affirmation. I'm a powerful co-creator of my life. So just take a moment to look at those words and let them resonate with your spirit. I'm called here. All of us are called here to create. And so, what is that for you? So, for me, for a while, it's been the fitness piece. So, this piece in the beginning, again, I thought about it. Where did this idea come from? Again, I stand on the shoulders of my mother. But I also, when I moved to Edmonton, I hit a dark place in my life as well. And what I turned to was, oh, somebody erased it.
Your
What
thing
I,
keeps you're sorry, your PowerPoint keeps going in and out two different pictures.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. What about that? Is that okay?
Uh you're on the created to create
No.
picture and then I can see like the whole PowerPoint.
Okay. I'm wondering if I should nix the PowerPoint. Okay. Maybe I'll send it. So I'll keep talking, but in the meantime, I'll send this to Jessica, and then if we can get it going. Because I myself, I'm a visual learner, so I like to see pictures and imagine things when I see pictures. So I'll keep talking, but I'm gonna send this to Jessica, and then maybe she can pull it up. So yeah, so moved to Edmonton. I hit a dark point in my life. And what I knew, because I had siblings who turned to drugs and alcohol. So at a very young age, my brother became alcoholic, like 16 years old. I think I was about 11 at the time. So we had that early on in my family, and then my sister also ended up living that lifestyle, and eventually that lifestyle took her, right? So I was surrounded by all of um, that addiction. So I knew what I witnessed and observed in my life that I did not want to go down that path. So, in my darkest days, in my struggle, I then turned to exercise. I turned to fitness, just like my mom. And that's at that time kept my head above water. That's what helped me to survive, essentially. That's what helped me to keep going and showing up in this world, even when I was struggling with my own mental health. I was struggling with my own stuff. It was fitness. And I remember very clearly thinking one day, if I could take this, put it in a bottle and sell it, or not even sell it, but to give it away to help other people turn into this medicine, movement is medicine. That's what I want to do. And so that's kind of where that idea of fitness, starting a business came into being. So I knew somehow I didn't have no money, didn't have no connections, didn't know anybody who worked in the fitness industry. I had nothing but except this call in my heart. One day I'm gonna open up a studio. I'm gonna create a studio. I'm gonna create a space. I don't know how, but it's gonna happen. So I do have a picture, and Jessica, I sent you that PowerPoint. It finally just went through. Um, so therefore I started my business. I got educated, got certified to be a fitness instructor and different other pieces. And the rest is history, we'll say. So, when I started Iskwew Health, one of the reasons why I called it Iskwew. So, for those who don't know, I'm Cree, and the word for Cree, or the word for woman in Cree, is Iskwew. So for me at that time in my life, I was now also reclaiming my culture. I was reclaiming who I was as an Indigenous woman, and Nehea Esqueo. For a long time, I really rejected that. I really was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I would go to bed at night praying, Creator, if I could just wake up with blue hair and blonde eyes. Like I really struggled with my identity. And I got on that healing path. Now I'm reclaiming who I am. I'm going to start a business. What are we going to call it? For me, it was instant. I didn't have to think about it. We're calling this Iskwew Health. And so women in Cree, we're putting this word out there. We're honoring this language. This is who I am. So that's how my name of my business came to be. So from there, there was a couple of obstacles that had happened. And so I share some of these obstacles because I hope that it will be helpful for you. Um, one of them was a space. So at the time, I didn't have a space. Again, I had this dream in my heart. I got certified. I got trained. Now what? Didn't have a space. So I thought, well, we can definitely do this outside. We can use Mother Earth. And there's something beautiful when we go connect outside. So I started with boot camps, um, running boot camps outside, and then slowly, I really believe momentum will come. Once you step, when you take that leap of faith, the saying goes, the net will appear. Right. So I took that leap of faith of getting certified, of putting classes out, of starting a Facebook page, um, and getting my name out there. The rest will come. Not to say that you don't have to put in the hard work, but you got to trust their movement. I say movement is medicine, and I've always said that in the context of exercise. Um, I see your message. Yeah. I might not go through because it's a really large attachment regarding the PowerPoint. But what I could do is I could send you the PowerPoint and then you can send it to everybody else later on. Um, when you start to move with your ideas or the dreams that you have or even the goals or the inspirations, aspirations, when you start to move with that, I really believe the world, creator, our ancestors catch onto that energy and move with you. So from there, I found a space. Really, it was really easy space to find. I did have a picture of it. It was like a dungeon. I can't even believe early on I actually put people in that space because it was like wires hanging from the ceiling, half carpets, half concrete. It was just a dungeon. And so I thought, well, this will work during the winter months. And so we would work out. I didn't matter what space it was. But I also now thought, is this all, is this as good as it possibly could get? No, we could do better. And so I imagined this space. I'm a huge believer in visualization. So I imagined this space that it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be pretty. It's going to be a space where people feel safe. And I should have been in my studio for this session so I could have showed you. But it's a beautiful space. I had to tear down walls. Took, I think, probably about 6 months to get the space in working order, but it's the most beautiful space ever. So I took that leap of faith and the net appeared. Now I want to talk about self-compassion because, and I think as human beings, as two-leggeds, the struggle will be real. We'll go through imposter syndrome. We'll go through thinking, oh, maybe this isn't the plan for me. We'll go through doubt. We'll go through that self-talk that is not helpful. Right. So I had a moment, many moments, let's be honest, I had many moments. I had early on, I had a mentor, I'd say an auntie, who I said, this is what I do want to do. And actually on my vision board. So way back, Kayas, many moons ago, vision boards were really the thing that they are today. I had somebody introduce this same lady. She introduced vision boards to me. And on that vision board, again, it was just like, I want to bring fitness to the First Nations. Back then, I thought First Nations encompassed, this was my ignorance, the Inuit, the Métis, all of us. I didn't realize it just really meant First Nation. But that's what I put on my vision board. But I meant all of us. I want to inspire. I want to get our people moving. So I put that on my vision board. And the same lady who introduced me and challenged me and encouraged me to do this vision board, she said, she looked at it. She looks over my vision board and she says this. She's like, our people don't need fitness. She very much said it like that. And it like, I felt very passionate, very strong about this. So when she said that, it really hurt my feelings. It was like she threw water on a fire. And I could have listened to those words, but I had to pull my mind out of what she just said. And it took a while. So this is where self-compassion comes in. So there's three aspects to self-compassion. The first one is kindness. The second one is mindfulness. And the third one is common humanity. So I'm going to just describe what self-compassion looks like in our lives in this context. So here's somebody who just, crushes my dream. And so, what kindness does. So, actually, let's stop. What self-compassion does. Compassion shows up in our lives when we see other people suffering. So, we know how to extend compassion to other human beings. If we see somebody suffering, we can extend compassion. We can extend a prayer, a thought. We can extend action. If we see somebody who's struggling with homelessness, maybe we can buy them a sandwich, right? So, compassion is seeing another person's suffering. So when we turn that towards ourselves, when we're not thinking well about ourselves, Well, we have the negative self-talk. Well, we have the stories that aren't really true. So we call them confabulations. Like we make up these stories of, say your coworker didn't say hi to you this morning, and so your mind might go to, oh no, they don't like me. What did I do to piss them off? Like we might, we'll make up stories, right? So when our mind is not in a good space, one could say that we're the ones who are suffering. So in that moment when this lady called down my vision for what I wanted to do in this world, I was suffering. That hurt me. I was like, maybe I'm on the wrong path. Maybe she's right. I had to extend, first and foremost, kindness to myself. I say, man, that hurt. That would hurt anybody's feelings, but I'll be okay. So it's like, what would you say to a friend in that situation? This journey is all about being your own friend. You're with yourselves 24 hours a day. You should be the best relationship in your life. And it's not the case. We're very hard on ourselves. We are all judgy and critical, where kindness steps in and says, we're going to go the opposite direction of judging and criticizing ourselves. So it's choosing a different way of thinking. We're going to show up in kindness. So the next part of that compassion is mindfulness. So being in that moment of like thinking, having second doubts about this idea, this business, this calling on my life. So what mindfulness does, and this is a practice that we should have in our everyday life, it honestly will help you. So what mindfulness does is just being an observer, just noticing that, man, what she just said sucks. And it just brought my spirit down. That's where I am. So it's not over dramatizing. It's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's not taking my vision board and, ripping it up and saying, we got to start from scratch. It's not ignoring either what she just said. It's not numbing away those words or whatever that pain. It's just being aware that this is how I feel right now, period. And just acknowledging it, which ties into the next one, common humanity, that everybody suffers. I'm sure somebody's had their dream crushed, their vision crushed, their goal squashed from another human being. I'm not alone in feeling this way. And so this is where you then reach out to other two-leggeds. So I really believe in connecting with other people. So if you have that dream, that calling, that vision in your heart, don't just hold it just to you. Again, you got to move that energy, but you got to be wise in who you talk and share your dreams with. She obviously, and I didn't know this at the time, right? I thought she was my person. But clearly she had her own stuff she was going through. So go talk to people who are doing the thing that you want to do. Go talk to the people who are living a good life that inspire you. Maybe you see them on social media and you're like, yeah, I like that. It's not about wanting to be another person. First, you got to love you, but there's people along our path that inspire us, that motivate us, that, yeah, I want that. I want a little of that in my life. Go put yourself in those circles. So you'll feel less alone. So common humanity, that the people, the very thing that you're feeling in your life right now, whether it's on a personal or professional level, is not isolated. There's other people who've experienced what you are walking through in your life right now. So go reach out, go have conversation, get yourself in circles, go to ceremonies, but get yourself with other people and talk it through. So self-compassion needs to come into our life and guide us. And we would say that self-compassion is such a good role in our own mental health. but it's a practice. It's a skill that we have to learn. It's not easy. So it's again talking good to yourself, which is why I started today with that affirmation. That is something that I do every single morning. I start with an affirmation. I start with mirror work. I start with gassing my own self up. So it starts with you. And then moving on to being just present with yourself, being present with the hurt. Of course, there's moments of celebration and goodness and joy. We hold on to that. But I'm talking about it's the other feelings, right? When we feel maybe it's jealousy, maybe we feel frustrated, maybe we feel not worthy of doing what we're doing, or we maybe are stuck. So in the fitness industry, um, there are slow seasons. So summer and December. And I've been in this industry for a really long time. And when those slow seasons, even today, like I'll still have moments where, oh my goodness, nobody's signing up to my class. And oh man, maybe I just need to not do this anymore. So that self-talk comes to play, right? So it's just being mindful in what you feel. This is just another day. This is just another emotion, another feeling. It will pass. And then also reaching out to other people. So, when one of the things about the fitness and wellness industry, so I had put up a whole pie charts to show you. So right now, in the global wellness industry, it is worth 6.8 trillion. So that's before million, or that's after million, billion, then you have trillion. That's a whole lot of money. It is a $6.8 trillion business. In Canada, I think it's 243 million. So it's pretty strong here in Canada, but it's greater than the pharmaceutical world. It's greater than the sports world. So the wellness industry, and that just does not mean fitness. It's talking about beauty. It's talking about health, our mental health. There's so many aspects to it. So if you're thinking about being in this field, this is a fast growing field. And there is enough room for you and your ideas to exist. You're allowed to shine, take a piece of that pie, and bring that gift to the world. So it's an expanding world and business to get into. Um, I just thought that that was important to say. I don't always actually talk about money or what the industry itself looks like in these sessions, but I also think that it's important because we, as Indigenous peoples, you, as young Indigenous people, you deserve to sit at all of the tables. You deserve to be, you're worthy to be. You have something to say, you have a gift to bring to the world. So just know you deserve to be at those tables and you deserve a piece of that pie. So, a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about my business. It's taking it from the perspective of community. So, actually, I had some slides. I love alliteration. I had some slides talking about community, talking about not just being focused on me, myself, and I. There was one boot camp class. I remember this day perfectly. We had a boot camp class on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and I showed up early to set the space up, set the class up. And right in front of me was one of our sisters. She's a Cree woman. That's where she slept that night. And I remember having to wake her up and say, "Excuse me, I'm so sorry, but I'm coming through the doors and there's going to be other women who are coming in. You can stay here, but just know that there's other people who are going to come through these doors." So I went upstairs to the studio, came back down and brought her some food and water. And seeing her just struck such a chord. I thought, here we are, how privileged we are that we can come and work out and be in community and uh, be strong together. And we have a lady who's living on the streets, like 200 feet away from us. So that struck an idea instantly. And I thought, I cannot possibly solve this homelessness crisis here in Edmonton because we have a lot of our relatives who struggle with living on our streets, who don't have homes. I cannot possibly solve all that, but what I could do is maybe help one woman. And I really believed at that moment, Creator brought this woman across my path very much on time. Again, everything happens on purpose. And I could do something. I had a whole network, I had a whole family, I had a whole um, community of other women. And what I know to be true for my teachings is we were matriarchs. It was the women who were the backbone of community. They were the decision makers. They were the ones who kept community well and alive. And I knew this. And so I knew that I needed to do something. I needed to take responsibility. I needed to step into action. So what I did from there is I called a group of women, we'll say a committee of women, and shared the idea that we need to raise money. We're not going to rely on grants. We're not going to rely on other sources of funding. We're going to raise the money ourselves, and we're going to support one woman who's on this journey of homelessness. So from there, we came up with a name and it was called Healing Her Homefire. So I had my business, Iskwew Health, and out of that came Healing Her Homefire. So I don't have two babies of my own, or I have no babies of my own, but I say these are two of the things that I've birthed that I'm nurturing right now in my life. So Healing Her Homefire. So it was addressing homelessness and it was taking action and doing something about it, right? Taking that call in my heart from that moment I seen her on the street, I knew I needed to do something about it. And sometimes we know we need to do something, but sometimes we don't know what to do. We're just stuck. And that's why I think it's important. I gathered some women. Let's talk about this. Let's get this idea moving. And so that happened. So so our goal was to raise $35,000. And I'm just little old me, right? Like our goal was to raise $35,000 and we gave ourselves, I think, a year to do that. Because I'm like, 35,000, that was a scary number for me to think about raising that with not relying on any other funding resources other than our own network and our own fundraising ideas. Within 3 months, we raised $30,000. That was just having our own little fundraisers, working our own networks. So it's powerful what we can do when we move together. So so that's been the journey of just working with these two babies and nurturing these two pieces. So Iskwew Health and Healing Her Homefire. So all of my life in the last 3 years had to take a little bit of a break because I went back to school. So I was at this women's gathering 3 years ago in Saskatoon, and I saw a 14-year-old girl get on stage in front of 300 people, 300 women. It was a women's gathering. Because there was an open mic. We opened the mic for four people to share their experience. She got on stage and voice was shaking, tears in her eyes, and she expressed this. She expressed how she was getting abused in her family. And the courage it takes to get in front of an audience like that to share, she must have felt like I need to get this off my chest. This must be a safe place. So when I heard her say that, so immediately um, I went to go chat with her, but I also knew at that time, like, this is serious. We have some serious issues. Like this young girl being abused within the context of her own family. And I knew at that time I didn't have the proper training. I could show her compassion. I could bring safety into her life, but I knew that I needed knowledge, I needed skills, I needed tools to really help with those kinds of issues. So that now is another calling that I have in my life. What are you going to do with that? So I'm like, okay, well, I don't really want to go back to school because honestly, I did not want to go back into debt, right? I wasn't, some of us have the honor of getting school paid for, right? That's part of the treaty agreement. But that I didn't experience that in my undergrad degree. I mean, it took me 10 years to pay off my undergrad degree. So I knew that. So I thought I'm probably not going to get sponsorship or help from my nation. So for me, it was my barrier was finances. And so my friend, and I was talking to her, I was like, I know I need to do something about this. I need training. I need something because there's some needs that we have. So I said to my friend, I don't want to go back to school because of the money. So what did she say to me? She's like, Michelle, the money will come. So again, you take that step of faith, you step out, the net will appear, right? So she said that. And so as soon as she said that, like that's all I needed to hear. That's the little push that I needed to hear. I signed up for school. And I was prepared to go into debt because it was going to be about $40,000. I was prepared. I had my whole plan of how I'm going to pay this off. Um, but that kick-started my business. That lit a fire under me to do some new things within my business. And one of them was to create affirmation cards. And I had on my screen one of the affirmation cards that I had created. So I created these affirmation cards because affirmations are near and dear to my heart. And sometimes I can be very lazy. So I had this idea for a very long time, but I just never did anything with it, right? So now I'm like, I have to pay for my education. So that lit a fire. Got my affirmation cards. Those affirmation cards paid for my first year of school. That I'm talking, that's like $10,000. So this little idea that I sat on for so long, and honestly, I probably to this day would have not moved with that idea had my friend not pushed me forward, right? So take the chance. Move that idea, move that medicine, move that calling on your life, the net, trusting that the net will appear. But again, I have to say as well, I had to put in a lot of my own work. I had to sacrifice a lot of my own time. So the net will appear for you. Trust that, but you also know that you will have to do hard work as well. So the world, creator's always conspiring in your favor. So, where I am today, so with my business, still thinking about community, um, because I know I'm not going to be teaching fitness for the rest of my life. And as I get older, my knees can't keep up. So I just got two young girls who come to my Monday night Zumba classes, and I got them registered to become Zumba instructors. So they're going to take their training this Saturday. So I'm passing the baton on. I'm still going to be teaching Zumba, but I want other people to come on this journey with them. I want a capacity build in my own world. And then when I exit out, there's somebody who's going to take that space. So being mindful, so not just doing you, I always say this, you do you, but also being mindful of community. That's the Indigenous perspective of where can I help to build community? Where can I be a good helper? Where can I lend my resources? not just to expand my own business. I think that's good. There's nothing wrong with that, but it has to be so much more. So when I went into my business early on, so people will always ask me, how much does it cost to come to your Zumba class? And I was like, I don't charge. I have a tip jar because I never wanted money to be a barrier for people to access fitness for our people. But I feel very, very fortunate. I have other streams of revenue and income that I can tap into. Um, that make up for not charging people for coming to my class. But with that said, I do believe in reciprocity. So I believe in giving people an opportunity to, if they want to, hey, I have $5 I'm going to throw into because I really believe in that reciprocity. So that's really important as well. Um, Never ever just be a giver. So I have an elder who says we walk like this. You keep one hand down and one hand up, right? So never ever just giving. Sometimes we do that all the time. We give, we give, we give, but we also need to receive as well. So walk in that balance, giving people the opportunity to reciprocate, right? What you're giving. So I think that that piece is really important as well. So that's a little bit about my business, and what I'm up to these days. So I do offer only one class. So I used to go from teaching 15 classes a week to now I'm down to only one. That's what my schedule allows for, and I chose Zumba. And I chose Zumba because it brings joy to my own life. It helps my mental health. I put that class on Mondays for a reason, and then I just invite people to come along the journey. It helps my own mental health. So I really encourage you to find the things in your life that will help you, that will bring joy into your life. Not every day is going to be a good day. We are going to have dark days. We are going to struggle, but you are co-creator. You can bring things into your world that will help you live well, especially on those hard days. So for me right now, that's my Zumba class. So I invite you to think about what is that one thing that will help you in your journey in your life. So just to kind of cover what we talked about, and I'm really sorry we didn't have the PowerPoints. I had some really good pictures in there. So I started with the first screen says created for purpose. I really believe every single one of us is created with purpose. There's only one of you in this world. And before you were even born, Creator thought, oh, the world needs one of you. And so here you are. But you came into this world with your own unique story, your own unique strengths and gifts, and your own unique purpose. And part of our responsibility is to figure out what is that purpose and then move with it. So you're created with purpose. You were created to create. What are you going to create in this world? What medicine are you going to bring in this world? How are you going to make this world a little bit better? Even if it's just one person, right? When we helped that one Iskwew who was living on the streets, it was just one person. But I really believe that that's person Creator brought across our path. Um, and then move with self-compassion. So the calling, the purpose, the things that you're creating, there will be people who will come across your path that will throw doubt on it. That's where you got to move with that compassion, move with kindness, move with, okay, this hurts my feelings, but we're going to move on. And then go connect with other people. You don't have to struggle in isolation. And my best ideas is when I call up a friend and I was like, I have this crazy thought about this event, this idea, and we talk it out. So find your people. Gabor Mate says we only need one person to fiercely believe in us. We don't need a whole entourage of people, although that would be nice, but we only need one person. So find that person in your life, connect, move those ideas, talk about it, get it moving, take that leap of faith, and then that will appear. So, Examaga, that's it. That's all. I think we're open for any questions.
Awesome. Yes, thank you so much, Michelle. And if you have a question, please raise your hand and unmute yourself, or else just put in the chat and we'll get to it. I'll start off first, actually. You do emceeing and speaking aside from your amazing businesses. What was your path that led towards that part of your career, and what kinds of tips or tricks do you have to get yourself more comfortable on stage?
Yeah. Okay. So that was one thing I actually meant to talk about. So fitness. I'm passionate about, love it, but I really believe it was a stepping stone to all of these other pieces that I'm doing. So it was actually, I'll be honest, it was can do. So I remember during COVID, because one of the gals, she had come to my fitness classes. And so she thought that I was a good communicator. And she's like, hey, do you want to maybe come do this? And that was my starting point. So I learned how to communicate because you got to learn how to communicate well when you're telling people to do burpees and push-ups, right? You got to be motivational. So I learned that skill doing that. And then it just honestly snowballed from there and opened up so many other doors. But again, you got to be willing um, to put yourself out there, but also practice. What helps me a lot was I do a lot of practice. I'll go through on my own and talk it out until I feel comfortable and then bring that content to wherever you go. So that's it. Practice makes perfect. I truly believe in that. And again, putting in the hard work and the hours of what goes on behind the scenes is really important.
Awesome.
All
Thank you.
right. Yeah. Just looking at the chat box right now. Thanks. I really appreciate, I love reading people's comments. All right. So I do have if you want to check out my Facebook page, that's where I put most of my stuff. I just started doing TikTok back in November. I kind of was trying not to do TikTok just because it can be overwhelming and I can be on there too much. But I thought, I know we're getting my Zumba out there. We're pushing this one class I do. So I'm on TikTok, but I also my main space is Facebook. So it's Iskwew Health. And then if you want to check out my business webpage, um, that might give you some ideas as well. It's iskwewhealth.com. Um, I'll put it in here if you don't know how to spell Isqueo. And that's it. So thanks everybody for joining. I don't think we have any more questions, just reading. Oh, just wait. Yeah, thank you. It's not always easy to have that positive outlook every day. And again, I don't think that we're required to do that, but at the very least, start your day with gratitude, honoring Creator, but also honoring yourself. Before I leave my house, my journey is me, myself, and I, gassing myself up, loving me so I am ready to go into the world. All right, Examaga. Thanks so much for having me.
For sure. Thank you again for sharing your insights and your story, Michelle. It's very inspiring. Okay, awesome. We'll wrap it up from here. I'd like to take a moment to extend our gratitude to the Starbucks Foundation for making these Youth Connects possible. Their support allows us to create spaces for important conversations like this. Before we go, just a quick reminder to please complete the evaluation survey that will be sent out after the session. It'll give you a chance to win a $100 gift card. And that is all I have. And thank you again, Michelle, and stay safe and stay inspired. See you all.